Hello everybody and welcome to another video on the Pole Position YouTube channel. In this video we are going to be discussing comments made by team boss of McLaren, Zak Brown, in regards to Mercedes' lineup for the 2022 F1 season. He has made some comments regarding George Russell and Max Verstappen, and that could be the lineup for Mercedes next year. Let's discuss it without further ado. Let's get into the video. So yes, Zak Brown made the comments just before the F1 season for this year started, and yeah, he made the comments that he thinks George Russell and Max Verstappen would be a great lineup for Mercedes if they were to change heading into 2022. And he goes, I think that's an obvious conclusion. If you have Max's experience and youth, you also have George Russell's youth. If I'm Mercedes, that's a pretty killer lineup for next year. And I totally agree. I think it depends on what Mercedes want to do. I discussed it in one of the previous videos as well, thinking that it might be Russell Bottas next year, simply because I'm not sure what Lewis Hamilton's going to do. I did have some comments, which is great, and obviously that was in regards to they think it might be Russell and Hamilton for next year and they may stay on. Yeah, it ultimately depends on what Verstappen does in terms of Red Bull and Lewis Hamilton does in terms of Mercedes as to what happens with the driver market next year. But I think Zak Brown putting them comments out and them tasty comments is interesting. I think Russell and Verstappen would be a great lineup for Mercedes heading into the new regulation changes. But I think in terms of the new regulation changes, Verstappen would have to see a lot from Mercedes if they were to discuss this halfway through the season for him to jump. Arguably, Red Bull are looking stronger than Mercedes this year. I know, like I said, it's a completely new regulation change next year, so who knows in terms of who's going to be ahead in that. But I think, yeah, it would be a lot more difficult for Verstappen to move to Mercedes than, say, George Russell to move to Mercedes, because, you know, George Russell is still part of the Mercedes Academy. It's his last year left in his Williams contract. Williams haven't really made that progress yet to sort of warrant having George Russell still at the team, if that makes sense. I just think that Russell has proved himself to be a top caliber driver. Last year he was seriously unlucky at that Sakhir Grand Prix when he took Lewis Hamilton's place, and arguably maybe should have took it for the last race of the season at Abu Dhabi as well, because Hamilton still wasn't feeling 100%. So really, you know, it could have been that Russell could have got that seat for 2 weeks in a row, but obviously that wasn't to be. But I think Russell has proved himself, and I think it's getting to that point now where he needs to be higher than what Williams can give him. So I think, you know, Russell is easily the easiest one to get into that Mercedes seat for next year. But I think it might be that it's too early in the season to judge where, say, Valtteri Bottas is going to be. Is he going to prove himself this year? Is it going to warrant him a new deal heading into 2022? We know Toto Wolff likes Valtteri Bottas because he's an excellent team player for Lewis Hamilton. So yeah, I think it's ultimately still up in the air, but I think the comments made by Zak Brown of the potential of Verstappen and Russell would be a fantastic lineup. Interestingly, he did sort of go back a little bit, because in the team press conferences just before the first race at Bahrain, he did have Toto Wolff and Christian Horner alongside him. Now, you know, obviously, you know, he had to say, I'm not sure what happens in terms of Max's contract, but if I was Toto Wolff, you know, that's sort of an option that I would be looking for. Christian Horner had a little dig of him saying, well, who knows, it might be Ricciardo and Norris at Mercedes next year. So he's being a little bit defensive, but like I said, I think with the performance that Red Bull have shown already this season, I think it would take a lot for Verstappen to go to Mercedes for next year, unless Mercedes can prove to him that, you know, they are going to be at the top when the regulation changes come round. I think he might still be at Red Bull next year. Obviously they'll have the Honda Power Unit, which will become Red Bull next year, and obviously they're still making improvements on that just before they leave the sport at the end of the year. So I think it's all looking positive for Red Bull going through the next couple of years. So I think it would take a lot for Verstappen to go to Mercedes, but who knows? It could be Russell Verstappen at Mercedes next year. It could be Hamilton Russell next year. It could be Bottas Russell next year, or simply put, it could be Hamilton and Bottas next year. We really don't know. I think it is too early to throw them around. I know Zak Brown was sort of making them comments, but it might, you know, it is sort of too early. But you know, they're just throwing in their fantasy driver lineups, aren't they? So I think Verstappen and Russell is one of them fantasy driver lineups. If it happens, I think it would be great news for any Mercedes fans out there. But I think in terms of the rivalries at the minute, we need them two drivers in different teams and two different teams fighting for the world World Championship as well. So I think personally for me, I'd rather it stay where Verstappen's part of Red Bull, and then you maybe have the up-and-comer next year of Russell at Mercedes. I think that would be a fantastic watch should Lewis Hamilton look to bow out of the sport at the end of the year. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think George Russell and Max Verstappen at Mercedes would be a great lineup heading into 2022? Let me know, who do you think the actual lineup will be? Will Max Verstappen stay at Red Bull? And do you think George Russell is ready to go into that top seat at Mercedes? Thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really does mean a lot. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care. See you soon.